Yo, what's going on, buddy? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans game reaction, the playoff game reaction. Yes, I'm a Browns fan. This one, it hurts. The season is over. What we're going to be doing in this video is kind of going through, talking about the game in general, talking about some of the highlights, talking about why the Browns lost. The defense, we already know, it played like shit. The offense looked good in the first half. Second half, Joe Flacco, what the fuck? It's not the way I wanted the season to end. I was hoping we could at least get one playoff win, or even if we lost this game, it would have been a little bit more of a closer game. That was not the way I envisioned it. So like I said, we're going to kind of go through, break down the game. We're going to talk about some of the players that were good, the players that were bad, the bad players, that's very obvious who they are. And then by the end, I'm just going to talk about what the season meant to this team, how we kind of overcame a bunch of adversity, and how I think we're going to be looking going into next season. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy, as always, make sure you can drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated to do so. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so obviously you can see final score 14-45. The score should have been a lot closer if it wasn't for some late game just bullshit from Joe Flacco. But let's kind of start off with how the game went. Obviously in the first half, like I said, it was a closer game. Texans went down. They were able to get a field goal earlier. Earlier on, it was like both offenses were struggling. The defenses were kind of there. The defenses played good. But then they got their field goal. We went down, put together a nice little drive. David Njoku was a part of that drive, got us down there. Kareem Hunt, 1 yard touchdown run. Should have been a touchdown to Harrison Bryant, but we'll live with the 1 yard touchdown run to Kareem Hunt. Then after we get that touchdown, I'm thinking, okay, 7-3. Okay, come on, Browns defense. Let's show them who we are. What do the Texans do? Big throw to Nico Collins, and it's like a big run off to the side to Dale Singletary. Then we get a throw to the tight end. Then it's Nico Collins all the way down to I think the 5 yard line, and then it's like a screen pass that takes us straight into the end zone. And in that moment, I'm thinking, okay, what the fuck? Browns defense, where do we go? Okay, so let's bounce back. 6 play, 75 yard drive once again, and let's get down there. Little pitch play from Joe Flacco, got a little bit of Mahomes-ish action going on. Got the touchdown, 14-10. I'm feeling good. And once again, it's like, hello, Browns defense, where the fuck you at? What did they do? A little tight end screen, JOK, and I think Greg Newsome both just blitz into the quarterback, leaving Jordan, their tight end, wide open. And while everybody else is going over to the left side of the field, Jordan is able to just have the entire right side of the field to himself. Martin Emerson and Juan Thornhill try to make the tackle. They both whiff on it, and Jordan is just off to the races. Sione Takitaki, I think, was going to get him. And then Ogbo Okoronkwo, he was like trying to run as fast as he could. But a big man like that, he's not made to run full speed, and you could see the way he was running, his arms swelling. He was not going to catch him. When they went up 14-17, I was thinking, okay, we can bounce back. We can bounce back. What was the deciding factor? The fucking refs. And you might be sitting here saying, no, the refs did not decide this game. You guys played like shit in that second half. No, in some ways, I would say the refs played a factor in the momentum side of things, because they didn't give us the clear pass interference call on David Njoku that should have been pass interference. Even if you are Texas fans, you have to admit, going back and watching that game, watching the highlights, seeing that pass interference, that was PI. He hit David Njoku like a whole second early, then the ball was getting there. That was almost as clear as day as the Saints versus Rams PI back in like 2019. That was some complete bullshit. Everybody from the Browns and even some people in the stadium were like, no, there's no PI. What the hell? Even the announcers were like, that's not PI? Question mark. So we have to move on. Later on in the game, Joe Flacco, he tries to run for a first down. He doesn't get it. He gets sliding down, maybe like gets about 3 yards. But as he's sliding to the ground, he gets hit. The defender does a big windmill flying action, goes to the ground, and Joe Flacco gets up looking around like, flag? So from that moment going forward, we knew there was going to be no flags going on the Browns side unless it was clearly obvious. And when I say obvious, I mean like later on in the game where we finally got a holding call because our defender was getting yanked to the fucking ground. Going into the end of the first half, I kind of thought the Browns had a chance to bounce back, but when we got into the third quarter, it did not look good. Joe Flacco started making Joe Flacco mistakes. I thought coming into this game, he was going to throw an interception, maybe 2, but I didn't think the interceptions were going to impact the game this type of way. And to be fair, he had the 2 interceptions. He should have had 3. There was an interception he threw later on, I think in the third quarter, where he was just trying to loft it up to David Njoku. Could have been picked off by the defender, went through his hands, but it also went through David Njoku's hands. Njoku should have had a touchdown there. So there was a lot of balls that could have been picked. But as you can see, by the end of the game, it was 38-14. I'm not gonna lie, I put a tweet on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me, link in the description. But I literally said after about the third quarter, whenever this interception happened right here, I didn't even watch to see if he ran it back the whole way or not. I turned the TV off. I said, I'm done. If he ran it back, cool. If he didn't run it back, cool. At that moment, I thought the final score was 14-31. When I went back to check the final score later on, I saw it was 14-45. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like, why don't you just go up and beat up on the dead horse while you're at it? But now that that's out of the way, let's kind of go through and talk about some of the stats and talk about what the reasoning was behind why the Browns lost. Now, you can say a lot of things. You could say, was it Joe Flacco and the stupid interceptions? You could say, was it the defense and the way they played in the first half? Could it be the run game, the way we have like no run game this year when Joe Flacco became the starter? It was a little bit of everything in a way, because here's the thing. When it was 14-24, we were driving down the field before that pick six. If that ball doesn't get picked off and we could have at least come away with 3 points, 17-24. The way our defense played in the second half, we didn't allow a touchdown until the game got to 14-38, and we were pretty much just like, fuck this, we're done, I don't give a shit anymore. And CJ Stroud walked the dog, got him right down the field. They got another touchdown later in the game. Like I said, beat the dead horse. But I mean, the way our offense played, like, if you look at the numbers, receiving wise, I ain't gonna lie, we got a lot of guys involved. Harrison Bryant had a big, I think like, what was it, 47-yard catch? That was pretty nuts. I didn't expect him to have a catch like that. David Njoku, he got involved. Mark Cooper, we knew coming into this game they were going to be shutting him down, and they did really well at that. David Bell had a bigger role in this game. We all knew that was going to happen. We tried to get Kareem Hunt involved in the screen game a bunch of times, but the Texans were just sniffing it out. And like I said, when it comes to rushing the ball, we didn't do anything. Kareem Hunt, he had his few, he had the touchdown run, and he had a couple little runs, like 6-yard, 7-yard runs, had the big 14-yard run. Jerome Ford, what happened? It's like this dude was supposed to be our backup to Nick Chubb, and he was supposed to take over when Chubb went down. This game, he was nowhere to be seen, and I get it. The offensive line is nowhere to be seen. But when Nick Chubb first came in the league, our offensive line was nowhere near good, and he was out there putting up 1,000-yard seasons on 1,000-yard seasons. Now, that could be a testament to how good Nick Chubb is and the fact that we miss him so much, and we can't wait for him to be back next season. But Jerome Ford, you got to step up a little bit better than that. Now, like I said, with Joe Flacco, if he would have just been not turning the ball over too much, and that one interception didn't happen, and we could have gotten the ball back, got to 17-24, maybe we'd had more of a chance. But I think once that pick six happened, all the momentum shifted to Houston, and we kind of knew in that moment we need to get scores. We ended up going for it on fourth down inside our own territory. That allowed the second pick six to happen, and it was just ball game from there. If I had to give a grading on how the offense did, in the first half, B-, second half, F. Straight up fucking F. If you want me to be extra nice, I'll say D-, but it's an F. Now let's flip over to the defense side of the ball. The defense is where we need to discuss. Going down this list, JOK played great. JOK, I have nothing bad to say about you. You had your tackles, you were tackling for loss, you were kind of like the heartbeat of that defense. Myles Garrett, where did you go? Hello, where are you? Denzel Ward played pretty well. He was covering up his guys. The man we need to discuss, the one man we need to discuss is the burnt chip on the field. The man that used to be the burnt chip of Eli Apple has now been replaced by Greg motherfucking Newsome II. Greg Newsome, what the hell was that? You were getting burnt by receivers. You were getting burnt by tight ends. It didn't matter what the Texans put on you. You were getting burned. I mean, the one catch whenever, I believe it was Dalton Schultz that went back for the touchdown. They had the receivers kind of coming over. Everybody was kind of going over to one side. And it was like the little route where the tight end goes up and then he goes back. Kind of like what Kelsey did in the Super Bowl last year against the Eagles. But it's like he took Newsome up. The safety kind of had to come down to go with the receivers. Newsome and I guess Thornhill didn't communicate, and Newsome was supposed to be the guy that goes with Schultz. Schultz went over, Newsome had no idea, and he got late to him. Schultz had an easy walk and touchdown for CJ Stroud to loft it out there. And then it was funny with this defense where we were begging and saying, we want Ronnie Hickman out there. What do? We put Ronnie Hickman out there. The second Hickman got out there, CJ Stroud had Nico Collins, I think it was Nico Collins, who went flying right past the defense. Ronnie Hickman was stuck in the mud, did not realize the receiver was going to run right past him, was wide fucking open out there for the touchdown. CJ Stroud put so much air over that ball and just chucked it out there. The ball went, I think, like 5 or 10 yards way out in front of the receiver. CJ Stroud knew he missed him, and I'm pretty sure every single Browns fan was like, that's great that he dropped it, but why is he wide open? Here's something I will say about this defense, and I realize this could happen again next season. The defense was battered. It was bruised. It was beaten up. We have nothing to this defense at this point in the season because of all the injuries. I mean, you look around this defense, Grant Delpit not there, Anthony Walker not there. We were missing Grant Delpit on the back end. I realized coming into the season, we didn't really think Grant Delpit was that good. Maybe we'd trade him away. Maybe we let him go in free agency. He showed up this season, and when he went down, the team went down. In the center of the field with our linebackers, with Anthony Walker not on the field, our defense struggles. And the next thing, Myles Garrett, he's so good in the beginning of the season. He's good in the middle of the season. But once we get towards the end of the season in December and January where it really matters, like I said, where are you? Like, he just goes non-existent to this football team. We can't find him. Offensive linemen are just tearing him up. Larry Tunsil, I realize he's like going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a great offensive lineman, great tackle. But he made Myles Garrett his bitch. Larry Tunsil even went out of the game with a rolled ankle. Bad ankle. That looked bad. And he came right back into this game and said, oh, hey, Myles, how you doing? Yeah, my ankle kind of hurts, but I'm still going to make you my bitch. And the man I didn't even mention, it was the big factor of this game why we lost, CJ Stroud was throwing darts. And I'm an Ohio State fan. I loved CJ Stroud at Ohio State. I wish he would have came back for another season. I wish he was still playing with Ohio State right now. This past season for Ohio State, we would probably have won a natty. But with that being said, he plays for the Texans now. What did he do with the Texans? Went out there, oh, nothing. He just went out there and probably won Rookie of the Year, 4,100 yards, broke a bunch of records, 23 to touchdown to 5 interception ratio. Nothing too crazy. And by the way it looks, what did he do against the Cleveland Browns? Oh, that's right, 16-21, 274 yards. He had about 230 of those yards at halftime. The Texans defense absolutely just beat our asses in the second half, or basically just in the third quarter. C.J. Stroud didn't have to do anything in the second half. He got sacked, none. There was a couple of times where it looked like he could have been sacked. Myles Garrett was close, JOK was close, but the dude was just flinging darts. And it just seems like with the Texans, there's times where they look like their receivers are covered, but CJ's still going to throw it. And it's different from the way Joe Flacco throws. Joe Flacco will throw it in a triple coverage. CJ Stroud will see a receiver covered by one man, and he will lead him open in just exceptional ways. So to kind of wrap up this game reaction, I will say this. Like I said, Browns played like shit. In no ways am I saying that we need to be going into firing anybody. I know this offseason is going to be rough. People are going to be saying, fire Stefanski, fire Schwartz, fire everybody, start over. No. Stefanski's going to come back. Schwartz will be back. I think people talked about, oh, could Schwartz be a potential candidate for head coach? After that game, I'm going to say that's probably squashed by now. What we need to do is go back into the offseason, everybody get healthy. Once again, come back next season. We're going to have everybody healthy, hopefully. Nick Chubb back, Deshaun Watson back. The question mark is going to be, are we bringing back Joe Flacco to be a backup? He's probably not going to do it. He already said kind of throughout the season, if he were to play next season, he wants to be a starter. I don't know if that's going to happen. He'll probably be a backup somewhere else if he doesn't come back to be our backup. But like I said, Watson back, Chubb back, all the receivers hopefully healthy. We can get our offensive linemen all healthy again. No more ACL tears for Jack Conklin. Jed Willis will be back as well. And for the love of God, can we stay healthy? If we stayed healthy this season, we would have been so good. When the injuries started piling up and all the quarterbacks going down, it's just astonishing of how we went this far. And by no means did I think this team was going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm a Browns fan. I already made a video kind of talking about who I thought was going to win the Super Bowl, kind of talking about all my playoff picks. I'll put that link up there if you want to check it out. But like I said, I didn't pick the Browns to go that far. I picked them to win this game and possibly win against the Ravens, but then lose in the AFC title game. I didn't pick them to go the whole way. I thought we could have at least won this game. The way we lost this game, this just still fucking hurts. But I'm going to give my credit where it's due. The Texans played a great game. The only thing I'm going to say about the Texans is, I swear to God, they played the Ravens earlier on the year in the very first game of the season, and they got their asses just hosed. I mean, hosed. Yeah, right here's the game. CJ played okay in the game, but they got their asses kicked. Lamar Jackson didn't even play that good. It was just the defense beat up on CJ Stroud. If CJ Stroud goes out there and puts up this kind of game against the Browns defense, and then he plays the Ravens defense, and he just absolutely gets his backside blown out by this Ravens defense, and he gets like thrown 2 interceptions, only throws for like 200 yards. They score like maybe 6 points. And the Ravens beat them like 30-6 once again like last time. I'm going to be looking at this Browns defense saying, y'all are some frauds. The Ravens are the real deal. And what the fuck was that? Because if something like that happens, either CJ Stroud is going to have just like the biggest question mark going on him going into the offseason of like, what the fuck happened against the Ravens? Or it's going to be the Ravens defense are legit, the Browns defense are frauds, and the Browns need to fix some shit now. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of wrap it up with this. Like I said, the Browns, great season. 5 quarterbacks, all the injuries, multiple backup offensive linemen, multiple defensive starters having to rotate in, bringing in new safeties from D'Anthony Bell to Ronnie Hickman, Anthony Walker out a couple of times, Shelby Harris gone in and out, Zadarius Smith going in and out. We've had so many backups. It's just been an astonishing season of how we got this far. We should have not even made the playoffs. We could have been a 7-10 season for all we know. Browns fans, you need to realize that. If you're saying, how the fuck are we not winning in the Super Bowl? We shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. We could have very well been 6-10, 7-10, when Watson went down, and hell, when Chubb went down. We could have just been nowhere to be seen at this point. But instead, we kept our heads held down. We kept moving, head up, truck forward, and just lock in. We got to the playoffs. That is the best thing that could have happened for us this season. Winning a playoff game would have been icing on the cake, but the fact we even made it this far was just perfect season. But like I said, let's lock in. It's going to be a rough 6 to 7 months until next season. We'll get the draft coming up. No first round pick, obviously, because of the Watson trade. But let's just see what we can do this offseason. Hopefully with free agency coming, maybe we can get some good free agents coming in. Maybe some of our guys, there's going to be a couple of our guys that are actually on 1-year deals, so they might be leaving. We'll see how that goes. Zadarius Smith is on a 1-year deal. He might be leaving. It's going to be interesting the next month and a half to see how this team looks. But other than that, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys did go and enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciative if you do so. If you stayed to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much, and you want to go leave your opinion on kind of how the game went down in the comment section down below, feel free to do so. If you're a Texans fan or Browns fan and you want to leave your opinion on kind of how the game went, feel free to do so. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. Like I said, I'm a Browns fan. This is not the end of Browns content here on the channel. It's the end of the Browns game reactions, as the Browns season is now officially over. But when it comes to updates and news, when it comes to the Browns stuff, whether it's be free agency, the draft, or just off-season stuff, anything Browns news related, I will be giving my reaction and my updates, kind of what I think of the Browns news here on the channel. So if you're a fan of that type of stuff, like I said, subscribe button, notification bell, do it now. But without further ado, this has been Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.